Do you find yourself wishing your houseplants had just a little bit more pizzazz? Tired of those plastic pots but don't want to spend a fortune on new ones? Well, then your solution just might be continuing to watch this video that you clicked on.
Hello, I am Morgan and I absolutely love houseplants. I have over 50 of them, and as you might be able to guess, I also have a bunch of terracotta pots. The versatility of these cannot be denied. They are beautiful, they add a little pop of warmth, but after you have a bunch of them, you kind of want to branch out a little bit. Editor, leaf that pun out. It's me, I'm the editor. But when I was looking into ceramic pots and stuff, I found some that were like $50, $60, $70 for a plant pot. So I started going to thrift stores and finding items that aren't technically plant pots, but turning them into plant pots on a budget. For example, the first one I ever did was a outdoor light fixture for $5. So if you are looking to spice up your houseplants, I have 7 ideas to show you today. 5 are thrift store items that I turned into plant pots. And then the last 2 actually are terracotta pots, but I want to show you how I paint them to make them unique and make them my own for my plants.
All right, say this 10 times fast. Our first DIY plant pot thrift flip is this light fixture I showed you just a second ago. I started by cutting out the wiring, and that left us with drainage holes. It is so important for every plant pot to have drainage holes, and I'll address why in just a little bit in case you don't know. But I cleaned out the inside and then sealed up the edges with silicone. Basically, I didn't want dirt and water seeping out of the pot, and then I filled it with a plant. This is called an Enjoy pothos.
I absolutely love that for me, that there were built-in drainage holes with this pot when I cut the wiring out. But what would I do if I got an item from the thrift store to turn into a pot and there was no built-in drainage holes? And why the heck are drainage holes so important?
I have the answer to that question and more right after we get done looking at DIY.
Number 2, the teapot. This one is my favorite, but I had to come outside so the other plants wouldn't hear me.
I was so nervous about putting a hole in this teapot because it's from the thrift store, so I knew if I messed up that there were not going to be any second chances. But I got it using a porcelain, ceramic, stone, and tile drill bit. I put a little bit of water on the surface of the teapot and then just went extremely slow, and that drill bit was able to cut through the ceramic. Okay, old cactus nose here, and I'm here to answer the question that we asked at the beginning. Why are drainage holes so important for your houseplant pots? Allow me to demonstrate with very poorly drawn illustrations. So we've got roots, we've got a thirsty plant. Let's pretend we don't have a drainage hole in this situation. The roots soak up most of what they need, but inevitably some water is going to be left at the bottom. A few days go by, you water your plant again. But now the water is stacking up in the bottom of the pot. And what does water in a dark, damp spot mean? Mold! Oh no! Which leads to root rot, chokes out the root of your plants, and dead. So let's back up, let's pretend none of this ever happened, and let's put a drainage hole in our pot. Now when we water, the roots soak up what they need, but the rest of the water just flows out of the bottom of the pot, and your plant will smile, or your money back. All right, I believe this is a clip of science in action. Beautiful. Jumping right into DIY houseplant pot number 3. This is a glass mug that looks like a coffee pot. As you can imagine, it didn't have a hole either. This is glass, it's not plastic. And again, I learned about a new drill bit. It's called a diamond drill bit. Went very, very slow and had absolutely no issue drilling through glass. I know, I'm really surprised at that too.
So, I am not a succulent expert. This one looks pretty good though, I gotta say. But I mean that in terms of I had no idea that they grew so fast. I actually chose a succulent for this pot because I was under the impression that it wouldn't need a new pot for years to come. This is gonna need repotting before the end of the summer. Focus! So Google it first before you fill your DIY pots. If you are enjoying this video, smash that like button like I'm gonna have to smash this in order to get this succulent out in a couple weeks. Number 4 on my list of thrift store pot transformations. It's a clock.
Yes, DIY plant pot number 4 is a clock. When a subscriber suggested that one as a challenge for me for this series, I thought, this one's gonna be really difficult. And it was more steps than the others, but not difficult, I would say. I used a jigsaw to cut out the wood in the back, and then I removed all of the hardware and the mechanisms that were on the inside. That left me with a drainage hole that was actually a little bit too big. I ended up putting some mesh over that drainage hole, and then I painted it. Yes, I did. I painted it. I'm still painting it. And then I sealed the inside with 3 coats of polyurethane because, you know, there's going to be lots of water, lots of dirt and moisture in there. Stapled that mesh over the drainage hole, sealed it with silicone again, filled it with dirt, and then put my plant inside.
Never thought I'd turn a clock into a flower pot. The plant that I put in it grew so fast. This opening's really narrow, so it outgrew this really fast, but you could use this as a propagation station for plants that like to grow in soil. And finally, number 5, our last object that is not intended to be a plant pot, but we are DIYing it into one, is light bulb. Ish. It's not a real light bulb. I tried a real light bulb so many times and absolutely mangled every single one. I thought that the insides would just scoop out like some kind of pumpkin. No, turns out you need fancier tools to do that.
Can a light bulb be turned into a flower pot? Maybe with some fancier tools. I mangled almost 10 before I decided to go buy this jar from Hobby Lobby. It's $3.99 and it looks like a light bulb with no glass pieces or filaments to remove. All I had to do was take this piece from the garage. I don't know what it is, but you could use a screwdriver and that piece out of the middle, as well as the black plastic parts. I removed the rest with pliers. Then it was time to drill 2 holes on either side of the gold cap. It should look like this on both sides of the cap, and then I'm going to take some stem wire. It looks like this. It's from the floral department, and snap its neck. I made it look like hair that little kids draw on people, and then feed it through either side of those holes to make it a hanging light bulb. Then I took some twine, tied it at 2 points on that wire that we just put on, and flung it over the curtain rod. I hung them at staggering heights, cut off the excess twine, and here is the big reveal. So beautiful. I put some cuttings in there that I'm propagating, but eventually I would like to get some bamboo and just let it live in these light bulbs.
Now that we got all those weird items out of the way. Believe it or not, you do not have to have any painting experience for this DIY because it is easy.
Go ahead and grab your pot, terracotta, ceramic, old, new, plastic, whatever you want. A paintbrush, painter's tape, an X-Acto knife, and paint. I am using acrylic paint. And then I am just placing painter's tape in random spots throughout the pot and drawing squiggles as I see fit. I don't know what an unfit squiggle would be, but you're gonna know what feels right. Oh, I guess I should have said Sharpie on the supply list. So go ahead and grab your Sharpie as well. And then I drew squiggles. Again, this took several takes. I didn't like some of the little blobs I drew, but once I liked all of the patterns that I had on there, I cut them out with an X-Acto knife. I didn't remove the shapes themselves. I removed all of the painter's tape that was surrounding the shapes that I drew. I absolutely love this painter's tape method because it gives you a visual of what your pot's gonna look like, as opposed to if you just threw your paint on there, there's no going back once you put the paint on the pot. So I am just going to paint. How many times can I say paint? I'm gonna paint over that painter's tape, and then once it's completely dry, I will peel it off. I am lovingly referring to this one as my cow print negative space terracotta beauty. I think it's so pretty. And then we're gonna jump right into plant pot number 8, our final one on this list. I forgot to film an intro because it starts off almost exactly the same as the last pot. The only difference is when you use the X-Acto knife to cut out those shapes, you peel the shapes themselves out instead of all the tape surrounding them. So once those shapes are pulled out, again, just pick any paint of your choice and fill them in. You could leave it exactly like this, but I'm going to go in with a Sharpie, and I'm not exactly outlining the squiggles because I purposefully stayed outside the lines. It's called abstract. Look it up. Picasso, ever heard of him? So, and then I'm not filling in the inside per se, but I'm doing different shape squiggles on the inside. I don't know how to explain it. Just watch the video. That's why we have visual aid.
We've got 7 really cute DIY pots now, but what are we gonna put in them? I have a video right up here. I've never pointed to the cards before. Somewhere up here, my top 10 favorite houseplants that I have in my own home that I decorate with. But thank you so much, sincerely, for watching this video, and I hope I'll see you in the next one.